Good morning. It is Monday, July 18th, makes it 90 days out from October 16th. We were joking this morning in a conversation that, we're into Q4, and we are, no joke. So obviously, if you are thinking about getting to a kitchen table in the next handful of days, it's going to turn into middle of October money, and that's our focus. We are now really getting close to the listing that you're going to grab in another month is going to close right around the same time you might start to put your last stuff under. What do I mean by that? So 90 days out from the middle of August is going to get us into the middle of November. Middle of November, you'll hear us talk about quite a bit. You get to that November 15th date, and whether you're putting a buyer or a seller under, that's your last 45 days of the year. So closing stuff in calendar year 2022 is going to go under contract with a purchase and sale on or about November 15th. So I know it's nerve-wracking to discuss all these dates and think about how quickly everything's moving, and the fact that we are on the other half of 2022 and looking to close out a strong fourth quarter. We're going to be getting into business planning clinic to start to talk about next year. And we don't do this to be a pain in the ass. I mean, I enjoy being a pain in the ass. It's what I do at a high level. We do this to keep you guys always focused on the market that's yet to come. And that's what this is all about. All of our conversations, the Red Book, when we talk about getting into business planning clinic, this is about the blueprint, right? This is the blueprint for the business. This is the 4 models. I would argue now we're calling expansion the 5th model. But ultimately, the 4 models, the economic model, the lead gen model, the budget model, and the organizational model. And we're using those to make sure that we are building a foundation for a business that, let alone navigate a shift, which we're always in. The market's always changing, right? I think people grab that shift book and they think to themselves, I'm trying to grab them from over here without. All right, stand by. The pile of books I go to the most, right? There's the one thing. There's Michael Mayer, 7 Levels of Communication. Here it is, shift. I think people think that this is to be read when the shift is happening. Like, I'm going to read this. I'm going to perfectly time it so I read this right before the shift takes place. We're always in a market that is going to ebb and flow, and this is designed as a playbook for the activities. This is designed to help you recognize the shift and the signs of a shift, and above and beyond that, to make sure that you are weatherproofed for the shift. Right, I want you guys to understand and recognize the shift, and yet at the same time, I pray that you, hang on a second, what are we doing? There we go. I pray that you never actually feel it, right? Recognize it, not feel it, because people that are impacted by the shift in the negative sense are usually the ones that aren't having this conversation on a regular basis. And above and beyond that, I'm trying to stack all these books, I apologize. Above and beyond that, they're just not having this conversation at their office. They're not having this conversation with their peers. And it's very simple right now. And I trust people are doing vacations with their families. And it's going to be an easy excuse this week. Easy excuse is it's going to be 4,000 degrees this week. Completely understand that. And not a reason to not be talking to your people, right? In a heat wave, in your house, with central air, at the beach, under an umbrella, wherever you are, you can still contact all your folks and have all the conversations. And the list of things that we could talk to them about this week, if they want to do stuff around the house, maybe they want to throw in a whole bunch of mini splits, and that could be cost prohibitive, but do they have the equity in their house they could pull from? Do they have the money? They just don't know who to call. Do you know who to call to do that? Do they want to move into a house that has brand new central air, so they're looking to move? I mean, that might not necessarily be the precipice for a move right now. And at the same time, who knows? We don't know, because we're not asking the questions if we aren't asking the questions. Are you connecting with your people about electricity rates? We had that conversation last week. Anyone you know that's going to be an Eversource customer, I would argue most companies are probably going to screw with their rates in August. Eversource, we know, is going from 9 cents a kilowatt to 22 cents a kilowatt. Are you having them go look at that bill to save them over 100% on their energy bills in the next few months and the months to come? Because that's about to change. Are you checking in with people on fuel insecurity, food insecurity? Are you checking in with them about where they went on vacation? It's not all negative. After the 4th of July, you calling and checking in with your friends. The FORD acronym, right? Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. After the 4th, you go right to R. It's not too late to check with them, see what they did for the 4th. Maybe their actual family vacation is coming up. Where are they going? Are they doing a staycation because they don't want to travel? And if they're doing a staycation, do they have what they need to make their staycation enjoyable? Have they done the pool yet? Is there an equity pool they could do at their house to put a pool in? Or could you connect them with somebody you know that does summer rentals so they could go on a reasonable vacation instead of a staycation? All these conversations, wildly important. If we're not having conversations, if you're not talking to your people, someone is. And when a sign goes in their yard with somebody else's name on it, you are not allowed to be upset if somebody steals your cheese. And I know we all want to make that magic phone call today that turns into the listing appointment. Or the person's just about to buy. Or they decided last night they're going to invest. And I know the pushback right now is, well, rates, I'm hearing this, I'm hearing that. Everyone has their own personal financial story that's taking place in all of this conversation. Do they know what their math is? Or are they running on the math they're hearing on TV? I mean, CNBC's on right now. They're talking about excessive heat grips, the Texas power grid. People can't afford AC. These are all real conversations. And if you're going to be the local expert in all the things, yes, the commodity we sell is the house they live in. Yes, I get it. You are curators of lifestyles. And if we start to behave that way, it changes the entire conversation. The limiting belief that we can only call them to sell them a home, to sell them a foundation with some sticks and a roof, will keep you out of business. But if you know a great place for them to go, if there's an awesome spot where they can go and cool off, I mean, that's a phenomenal conversation right now. If you want to just talk to people about, hey, you know what? I was talking to some people at the office, and I wanted to touch base with all my people. What's the coolest thing that you guys do around here, anywhere on the Seacoast, Maine, North Country, whatever? Because you know the beaches are going to be jacked up for the next week. We're going to be 90 plus for the next week. The beaches are going to be packed. I like people. I'm a high eye. I don't like that many people. They show pictures of like Hampton. No, thank you. Less of that. So what's your cool little spot that nobody knows about? That when you go, the people that know about it are there, but it's still not crowded. Where do you and your family go? Ask them those questions. Get them talking. Make the conversation all about them. People want two things. They want to feel heard and cared for. You're not calling to sell them a house. You're calling to make sure that you're nurturing the conversation. You're nurturing the relationship. Susan Collins, Fierce Conversations. The conversation is the relationship. When's the last time you talked to them? Because if you can't tell me the last time you talked to one of your good friends, are they a good friend? No judgment. I guess that's really judgy, actually. But when they do list with someone else, when they do buy with someone else, when they do decide to leave Liberty Mutual and get their license and join a real estate brokerage, and should they come here and they don't name you procuring cause because you haven't talked to them since 1938, we're not allowed to get upset. Someone else is talking to your people if you're not. If it's been a while since you've talked to somebody, and do I mean physically pick up the phone and speak to them? Sure. Absent that, do you have them on a smart plan? Are they getting a 36 Connect? Are they getting 4 phone calls a year? Are they getting 9 touches a quarter? That seems like a lot. This is a full-time career. And I say that knowing that we have dual career agents that are knocking it out of the park. I'll pick on probably our top dual career agent, Nathan Fredette. How do you think he knocks it out of the park? Because he's doing things that are taking place while he's at his other professional commitment that keep him top of mind. So when he does get back into his phone calls for real estate or just in general, I would argue most people, if I grabbed his phone or he gave me a number and I called anyone in his life outside of the people at Liberty Mutual and said, what does Nathan Fredette do for a living? Most people know him as a realtor because they want to talk about that part. When he and his wife and his girls go to a cookout this summer, nobody's walking over and saying, hey, how's Liberty Mutual? What's going on over there? Nobody, said with love, nobody cares. Nobody cares about office jobs. People want to talk about real estate. How many people in his life are going to go actually deal with the thing that he deals with at Liberty Mutual? Everyone in his life has some form of real estate over their head every night, whether they're renting or owning. We get to play in that space. And we need to keep ourselves from locking ourselves into the conversation that it's only, I'm calling Steve right now to see if he's going to buy or sell. That's not the conversation. I'm calling Steve to see how he and Carol are, how the kids are, what their summer's like, what they do for the 4th. And where they hang out on the beach. And if we're not doing that, no judgment, then what are you doing? Real estate's going to come up. Zoe and I will tell you all the time, our job is to make sure real estate turns into the background music. Now, hear me out on this. I don't want you to avoid the topic, but you can't lead with it. Shouldn't say you can't. People probably do. A high D would. I'll pick on Nate. Nate's a high D. He'd lead with real estate. That works for him. But if you've met Nate, he doesn't. He doesn't take long to get there because he's a high D. High I, I'm a high I. I want to talk about all the things. I know real estate's going to come up because they're eventually going to ask me, how's Keller Williams? Glad you asked. We've got over 700 agents serving 4 states. And they all want to help more people. Who do you know that we should know? Well, what do you mean by that, Tim? We're looking for listings for our buyers, buyers for our listings, and talent for our team. And when I say that, people are just like, do we really need more realtors? 1,000% we do. Because if we had enough realtors, enough people that did their job, we'd have more listings. We don't currently have enough realtors asking the questions to help the humans uncover the circumstances and the motivation to throw a for sale tag on their house and drag it to the end of their driveway and make it inventory. People can say, we don't have any inventory. No, we don't have any listings. Inventory is everywhere. Every house on your street is inventory. It's our job to make it for sale. And inherently, there's never enough listings, right? No matter what. Because when people throw something on, if you've got a listing right now that's marinating, it's waiting for its greatness, what's our rule? 10 days, no calls, 10 showings, no offers. After that, the universe has seen it. Well, no, I'm going to put it on the second internet. There's no second internet. We need great realtors to have honest conversations with their clients to make the improvement to attract the conversations. It is impossible, write this down, it is impossible in any market to underprice a home. Because your client gets to say no. But when you're out of the honeymoon period, when you're out of the first 10 days and nobody's called your realtor, nobody's knocked on the door, nobody's come to the open house, or 3 people did and you got no offers, guess what? The universe spoke. And they currently think you're out of your natural mind. Well, that's not nice. I can't say that to them. Well, then we need to learn how to. I can hear my mom in the back of my head, Shirley Lindsay. It's not what you say, Timothy. It's how you say it. That is where the scripts come in. That is where our conversation blueprints come in. How do you have the conversation with the consumer to let them know it's not your number, it's market information? Yeah, but the Buchanans sold their house 6 months ago. That was 6 months ago. That is like light years in real estate. Light years in real estate. It's a different market. Are people still buying and selling? Absolutely, because people still have real motivation. Because over the weekend, somebody passed away. Because over the weekend, somebody got accepted to a school. Because over the weekend, somebody got divorced. Because over the weekend, somebody had a job change. Well, how do you know that? Because life events happen every day. Well, who did it happen to? That's your job. And that is the only time I use the word job with real estate is in the morning. Before 12 is the jobby job of what we do. Having conversations. Professional people set appointments in the morning and they go on them in the afternoon. And if your answer to this is I will have somebody else set appointments for me, okay. We have big teams that have ISAs, inside sales associates. They call the Mets in the database and nurture the conversations. Talk to one of our best ISAs. He's downstairs right here in Portsmouth. His name is Brandon Schaefer. He works for Zola Group. He's not down there with a red pill and a blue pill like Morpheus, just handing them out and people are like, oh, I want to list now. He's taking the Mets in the team database and nurturing them till they get to the tipping point where they're ready to list, ready to buy. Having somebody do that comes at a cost. So until you're dangerous enough, then you take your phone that you're already paying for, that you're going to lie to your CPA in April and be like, oh, it's a business expense. Make it one. Because till further notice, it's probably just a Candy Crush machine. See how the time looks different? I put iOS 16 on it. We'll see how this goes. The public beta, God help me. If it's a Candy Crush machine, then you can't call it a business. You can. You already paid for the phone. You're going to have it next to you whether you use it or not. Start using it. Call the people in your phone. I don't want to be salesy. You don't have to be salesy. You have to be a human and have a conversation. There's such a massive opportunity, and the reason I'm emphatic about it right now is because most realtors never do their job. The proud few like you guys that actually have the conversations, you owe it to yourselves and your loved ones at home to have more conversations. But we're in the thick of it now. After the 4th of July, you know how many realtors hang up their phone until the kids go back to school? No judgment. If you're like pieced out right now and if you're on vacation this week, I have no idea why you're watching me. Said with love, go be with your family. But if this is the Monday morning you promised yourself, I'm going to get back to it, let's go. You got 10 more minutes. We're going to jump off. You got 10 more minutes to curate a list of people you're going to talk to. Storyboard a list. I'm going to call Nathan Dickey. I'm going to talk to him about craft beer, cars, boats, and real estate. I'm going to call John. I'm going to talk to him about his son's hockey team. I'm going to call Stacy. I'm going to talk to her about her small business. What does she do? She makes interior design items. She's like a small town home goods. And you're going to ask her, when I have clients moving to town, they're looking for something unique and ornate and local. Is she still accepting clients? What is she going to say? Of course she's going to say yes. You make it all about her. What's it eventually? Hey, I really appreciate that. Hey, how's real estate? It's great. So glad you asked. I've got 22 more families I want to help this year. Who do you know that I should know? Ask yourself this question. When you look at a house, when you look at your house, think about all the different people that are involved in the upkeep of that house. The painter, the electrician, the plumber. Do you have all those people in your hip pocket? Is your plumber for your house the person you would send out to other people? Have you called and solidified that relationship? Do you have your butcher, your baker, your candlestick maker, your builder, your developer, your general contractor, your audio video guy or girl? Well, nobody really needs that. Okay. You're going to sell a house to a maniac who's going to want a TV and a sound system in every room. So they can walk into any room and say, Sirius XM, put on X, Y, Z. Do you have that person? If you made all those phone calls to build up all your allied resources, would your business grow? I would argue yes, because you're going to trip over a deal when you talk to more people. Because if we don't have those conversations today, someone else is going to steal our cheese. Someone else is going to grab your business. Because we don't want to bother anybody. We have the math. If you call people today just to check in, to tell them, you're so sorry it's been so long. I want to check in on you and Stacy. How you doing, Ted? How are the kids? What are you guys doing for the summer? Oh, you already went on vacation. Where'd you go? How was that? Ask them if they want an equity update. What does that even mean, Tim? Oh, I'm glad you asked. You know what? Most of my friends don't really know where they stand in the marketplace. I could run numbers on your property in Stratum and check in with you and Stacy Thursday at 2 or Friday at 3. What works for you? What's going to happen? Maybe they list. Maybe they pull equity. Maybe they refinance. Maybe they do nothing. But you know what? That report is now on the island in their kitchen, and their friend comes over and says, what the hell is that? Oh, it's my friend Tim. He's a real estate agent. He did an equity update for us. It was wildly informative. We decided there's not a move for us right now, but I can have him call you. It's a Trojan horse listing appointment. Is business going to come out of it every time? Nope. Do you get to practice your CMAs? Yep. Do you get to tell all your people you're the local expert and deliver value? Yes. Service first, sales second. Head down, hard up. We got to get to work. If you don't talk to your people today, somebody will. And that's a disservice because you know you're better than them. So prove it by showing up. The rest of today, we're going to ignite at 9 o'clock. We're doing stop losing your leads, holding on to those leads. How do we hold on to those leads? We're going to talk about that today at 9 o'clock. That's at KellerIgnite.com or in the classroom in Portsmouth. At 11 o'clock, I'm meeting with the emerging cappers. You're somewhere between quarter cap and full cap. We'll see you at 11 o'clock. That's at KellerTV.com. Stun Stellars with premium marketing plans. That's at KW Connect at 1 o'clock. Ask the Brokers at KellerTV.com at 1 o'clock. And then, of course, the All Associates call at 2 o'clock. That is on Keller Williams, New England. We'll see you in and around the Market Center. If you need help with your marketing, you're going to KWCLMmarketing.com or you're booking timewithbabs.com, B-A-B-S, timewithbabs.com. Above and beyond that, you need your brokers. They're hanging out with you at 1 o'clock for Ask the Brokers, or you can call Jason at 603-234-2589. If you need my face, it is meetwithcoach.com or 603-834-2856. I hope you have a great